Claudia, welcome to BetMGM tonight, mi amiga. And straight away for me, contributing to NBC Sports Boston in the greater Beantown area. You know the Patriots like the back of your hand. Fantasy managers are absolutely giddy about Drake Maye in year two. Right now, going at quarterback 17, the price tag seems to be climbing, nearly a top 100 pick in early drafts. What are your thoughts on his development entering a sophomore campaign? And most importantly, over or under 19 and a half passing touchdowns? It's juicy over at minus 118.
Brad, I just have to say, first of all, you are my shot of espresso, my friend. It's 9 o'clock. I've been working. I'm getting tired, but I'm awake now. The second I hear your voice, thank you for that. Yeah, man, I think people should be excited about Drake Maye. I think they should be really excited about this offense. I'll answer your passing touchdowns question first. I would go over. I mean, it's hard to score touchdowns when you don't have trips to the red zone, which they didn't last season, but he still had 15 touchdowns in just 13 games, just 41 attempts in the red zone overall. With the changes that they made, having the second easiest schedule in the NFL, with McDaniel's offense, having an actual viable head coach, yes, he should get there. I was worried, I'll admit, when they started him in week 6 last season and they had zero consistency with the protection, revolving door at left tackle, receivers performing at a historically bad rate, the backfield not playing well enough to take pressure off him, yet he still gave life to the offense. He was confident in and out of the pocket. He didn't just immediately go to those easy checkdowns. He wanted to extend the plays, and he did effectively. He had the second highest scramble rate, only behind Jaden Daniels. And when he did throw the ball, he was decisive. He got it out quick. I was worried he would pick up bad habits and issues with footwork, but we didn't see that. Now you give him 3 new starters on the O-line. You have a real left tackle. I don't want to hear it about Will Campbell's arms. He's fine. He's won awards for his position. You have a true option at number 1, whether or not you like Stephon Diggs, he is an option at number 1. You have a great pass-catching back with Henderson. So, yes, I don't know how big of a leap we'll see, but I was very impressed with what little he had last year and how well he played. Like I said, you add in Vrabel, you have Josh McDaniels. People should be excited about Drake Maye.
Hey, Claudia, what's going on? People should be excited about Drake Maye, and I can definitely understand why you would say that, but I would not be excited about the people that Drake Maye have to throw the football to. I mean, obviously you got Stephon Diggs, but he's been outside all summer. By week 8, week 9, he'll be gone. So who is going to really be the go? I'm telling you the truth, Claudia. I'm just keeping it a buck. You know what I'm saying? I'm just keeping it a buck. He has no interest in playing for the New England Patriots. He is trying to get it in. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Who is going to be the guy that's really going to step up in this wide receiver room? Because it could just, listen, it's my opinion, but I have very little faith in Diggs outside of, being doing stuff on social media.
First of all, he broke up with Cardi B, so he can focus on football now. Okay.
Yeah.
There's more than I understand where you're. I understand where you're coming from. He's going to be 32 in November. He's coming off an ACL. All of that worries me, but I do want to put some of the silver lining in that, okay? He has familiarity with McDaniel's scheme because it's very similar to what we had with Gamble in Buffalo, and I know his numbers are down, but before he got hurt last year, he was on pace for a 7th straight 1,000-yard season on a new team splitting targets with Nico Collins and Tank Dell. I know the explosiveness is not there, and it hasn't really ever been, and it doesn't make it any better coming off of injury at his age, but I will say there's a little silver lining there. What I will say about this core overall is you can't do any worse than they did last year. They had the fewest receiving yards as a team since 1990. They'll be much better. I'm a little worried about their ability to stretch downfield. Drake has the arm. I'm not worried about him. It does come down to the receivers. You have Pop Douglas, who is their best guy, best guy, I say lightly. He was their best receiver when it came to the yardage. But he ranked 85 out of 89 qualified receivers in average depth of target. He wasn't your downfield guy. They did bring in Matt Collins, who's sort of your do-it-all. He can block, he can go downfield, he can be the intermediate guy. But Kyle Williams could sneakily be. He didn't show a ton of downfield threat in his last year at Washington State, but go look at the year before with Cam Ward. He had a near 11-yard average depth of target. The offense has a lot of options. I don't know how explosive they will be, but I do think Kyle Williams could end up being that option downfield.
Yeah, Kyle Williams is interesting, and you mentioned that depth of target because I really do think that somebody's going to have to step up because Demario Douglas is not really going to cut it. And let me tell you, I had to start Demario Douglas in some leagues last year, and it was not pretty. Tight end is Hunter Henry, though. And, I feel like he can be – I feel like he'll be involved. You know what I'm saying? I feel pretty good about Hunter Henry, Austin Hooper in the tight end room.
Yeah. I always say, though, if you are giddy and excited about a tight end, that means your offense is probably not going to be that good. But Hunter Henry has been, he has been that safety blanket. And I think, too, going back to Josh McDaniels, you looked at his first year in New England with him. He had a career-high 9 touchdowns, 50 catches. Of course, he's older. It's a completely new season, completely new roster. But he is coming off a near 100-target season. He's been reliable. He's been familiar now with Drake Maye having that year. And you mentioned Austin Hooper. He's not a name that jumps off the page. And as I've been talking with people about the Patriots, I put his name in there, and people make fun of me. But he had almost 60 targets and 3 touchdowns on just 8 targets. 3 touchdowns on just 8 targets in the red zone. That's the same amount of touchdowns that Travis Kelce had, and he had 26 targets. So you can make fun of this Patriots offense and Austin Hooper in particular all you want, but you don't really need flashy names if you have a talented quarterback like they do have in Drake Maye. So, yeah, the tight end room I think will continue to be a focal point for this offense.
We're talking to Claudia Bellofatto, bringing the energy, bringing the opinions, bringing the noise. Watch her on NBC Sports Boston and regularly on the CBS Sports Network and CBS HQ. And give her a follow on X, a tremendous follow on that platform at C Bellofatto TV. Again, at C Bellofatto TV. Claudia, I'm currently debating drafting Ramondre Stevenson in round 12 of the ultra slow, painfully slow Scott Fish draft that I'm in. Travion Henderson, of course, is long gone. He went and picked 5.12 overall in kind of a wacky and wild format. But what are your thoughts on the touch distribution in the New England backfield this season? Henderson has already drawn rave reviews about his explosiveness so far this summer. Is he a dark horse for offensive rookie year at 20-1?
Man, the number is so enticing. It's hard to beat the names at the top when you say Ashton Genty, Cam Ward, Travis Hunter. But I don't see the Raiders, the Titans, and the Jags having a ton of success. So if the Pats do well, and he's a big reason, which he would be for it, I would say a little bit of a sprinkle does make sense. Now, you talked about splitting that backfield. We don't know exactly what the rules will look like yet. It sounds like he'll be their passing down guy and possibly even their goal line guy, although that's supposed to be Ramondre's job. But you have to look at last year. He was a liability. He had 7 fumbles, 3 lost. So I wouldn't be surprised. Of course, with a rookie, you want to be careful with that workload, but I wouldn't be surprised if he takes even more on than what we're expecting. You got to look, since this is all we have of a sample size, is to look at that crowded backfield he had with Ohio State. They never gave him more than 12 rushes in a game in 2024, and he still finished with over 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns, over 7 yards a carry, and close to 300 receiving yards. So if we're talking to fantasy, I love him. You talked about him. He's going to fly off the board early. Yeah. As far as Ramondre goes, I just don't see them having a ton of trust in him after what we saw last year. The numbers might be there, and maybe, he's a reliable option if you need a guy. And I'll say overall, when it comes to the run game, I think the passing game is going to be much better, but we've seen McDaniel's offenses thrive on the ground as well. So I don't love Ramondre. I'm really, really excited about Travion Henderson, though.
Yeah, Travion's got like a Maureen Hampton vibes, Corey, to me, and Claudia. He's a guy who could, pop and sizzle first couple of carries in the preseason, and all of a sudden the price tag really jumps. So if you want to buy on him right now, in a fairly bear market, it's somewhat bullish. You better invest at this current moment in time because inevitably, I think the stock is going to be a rising as the summer mercury rises there on the thermometer with Travion Henderson, the pride of the Ohio State. And I have to say the, Claudia, for copyright purposes. All right, we got to get out of here on this one. Claudia, try to bury the bias the best that you can. Over or under 8.5 wins for the Pats this season. Right now on BetMGM, the over is juiced at -120.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's a big jump from back-to-back 4-win seasons. I thought 7.5 was the right number. I liked the over there. The market, that's where it opened. The market's pushed it up. You also have to consider the fact, though, yes, they're better. They were unlucky last year. They were 1-4 in field goal games, 3-6 in touchdown games. I do think they made the right moves to win a few more of those. Those close games come down to defense, and they were terrible last year. Spent a ton in free agency, brought in Milton Williams, Cortland Davis, Blaine. They made the right moves. I just don't love chasing the market here. It would be a lean over. I love to be over 7.5. It's a lean, though, on the 8.5 for me, Brett.